from FRC 971, Spartan Robotics. We're a high school-led robotics team from Mountain View High School, and we're out here showcasing our robot, doing a demo, and trying to gain some community support and get some outreach. Basically, this robot is a double-jointed carbon fiber arm with 5 degrees of freedom. We're actually really proud of our vision system on the robot. That has 360-degree cameras. We have 5 cameras on that robot to see all the way around, and we use April tag mapping so that we can figure out exactly where we are on the field to a super accurate degree during the autonomous period, which is the first 15 seconds of the match. We're very proud of our autonomous. It is one of the most high-scoring autonomouses in the world. And along with that, we have also been experimenting with machine learning. So we had a camera on the bottom of our robot that would see what position a cone was in our end effector, which is the rollers that you see at the top of the robot. And we'd try to use machine learning to detect where that was to help with our auto align, which is a third part of the software and AI development in the robot, which basically is allowing us to drive straight up to a cone or a cube node, what we call them, and place something down without having to manually align and try to adjust. At Spartan Robotics, we try to take a really unique path when it comes to creating robots. So we'll try to design not just for functionality, but for creativity and inspiration. So instead of a lot of other teams you'd see using elevators, we actually decided to make that arm, which is inspired by a robot we did in 2018. And we found that it was really cool to just test out a lot of different elements, especially in the physics department. Since our robot, we did a ton of calculations to make sure that the arm was as stiff as humanly possible to avoid any of the carbon fiber snapping and to make sure that we didn't have any backlash. So we found out that that was really unique, and we saw throughout competition that a lot of people actually took inspiration from our 2018 robot to create their own, which was super cool to see. This year, the main element of the game is to place cones and cubes on what they call nodes, which are either poles or shelves. And the main element of the game is to put as many cones and cubes on what we call the grid or an array of the poles and shelves as possible. And there's one extra element at the end of the game that we don't have on demo today, which is called the charge station, which is basically an oversized seesaw for robots. So you and your other 2 teammates on your alliance have to balance at the end of the charge station to try and get it as level as possible. We won our first regional, the San Francisco Regional, and then we were finalists at the Monterey Bay Regional, which we were super proud of doing this year. I gained a ton of technical experience. I'm pretty experienced in CAD at the end of this, since we CAD all the robots completely before building them. I also gained a ton of manufacturing experience. I was one of the main people manufacturing on the lathe. Our school has a wonderful machine shop, so we have a bunch of lathes in there, so I was making a lot of parts on there. I learned a ton about how to make drawings and manufacture to a high degree, and along with that, I just gained a ton of leadership experience through leading a subsystem on this robot. So I led the driver station subsystem, which is the pistol grip and button board to control the robot, which helped me gain a ton of experience in both leading projects, the engineering and design process, and basically learning all about how to create a finished product in a time constraint.
Civic Bell. We're a social platform that connects local residents to their government officials through a verification-based social media-like platform. So really allowing a local resident to strengthen the partnership with their local government. So if you're a resident of Mountain View, per se, Lisa Matichek and Assemblymember Mark Berman and Joe Simidians, the county supervisor of District 5, are all using Civic Bell as a better way than other social media alternatives to engage with those local constituencies, to ask questions, create a survey. That there's a really big issue with having political unity and having a high quality discourse. It's also obvious, things like Twitter and the bot problem, that there needs to be a higher standard of verification going on. Officials want to know, and some officials reached out to us and said, we want to know that these people live in the town, because it's hard to ask a question if anyone or a bot can get on there and answer. So the need, I think, speaks for itself, especially with the disunity politically that people have. It's hard to have a conversation with people anymore, and Civic Bell is an opportunity to have that conversation and join people together around a local level, non-partisan issue. So it's going to visually appear similar to another social media feed, something kind of like Twitter would look. And it's up to the officials to post whatever they want to gather feedback about. Could be informational, so just, I'm going to be at this event, I'm hosting this event. It could be a survey. Do you think that we should raise minimum wage? Do you think that we should adopt any number of policies? Completely up to the official. They can have a yes and no. They can have an entire opportunity to have a discussion in a comment section, kind of like a bulletin board would be. And so we're not curating the content at all. It's up to an official to post something and up to the community to engage. Our goal is that when a city council has an agenda item and they're trying to gather community feedback, so every city council meeting has a public forum section at the beginning, and on every single item the public's allowed to go and come in for comment. So for those that it's a little difficult to come in for comment, say there's a language barrier, say that they're at work, say that they have to deal with keeping their kids fed, right? They got other things going on that doesn't allow them to sit through a multi-hour council meeting. It doesn't have the time to email an entire meeting to the city council and engage that way. Civic Bell is an easier alternative that lets them opt into the conversation on any topic of the city's choosing. And so anyone in the community has an easier on-road to join the public discourse and give their opinion. We're really happy with an AI translation feature we've been working on, using context-based translation more than just a Google Translate API to allow a higher quality direct conversation between people of different languages. So right now the whole process, and especially a city council meeting, is predominantly in English. And in a place that's so multicultural and diverse as the Silicon Valley region, it's really important to be able to engage a wider swath of the voters. And so being able to go onto Civic Bell and put in Taiwanese, Cantonese, Spanish, Vietnamese, whatever you want, or English, and post in your native language, read everything in the discussion in your native language from other people. So a Taiwanese speaker could post something in Taiwanese, and a Spanish speaker could post something in Spanish, and they could be replying to each other in an integrated conversation in a way that really we haven't seen before in public discourse. Really being able to engage a wider swath of the population, creating more educated voters, helping strengthen democracy from the ground up.
We are Jinxpot 3D Printing, LLC. We are located just down the street in Mountain View, California, off of Church and Calderon. We've been doing it for the past 8 years or so, started in 2015. We got started bootstrapping one printer in the garage, made enough of that one printer to buy two to buy four, et cetera. Now we have 2 shops and a lot of happy customers, and we're excited to bring 3D printing to the people. I've been doing the technology showcase for about 3 years now. I really like that Mountain View is kind of showcasing the technologies that are in Mountain View. It is a technology hub. There are a lot of technologies out there. And you know, we have Facebook and Tesla and Google. They're all our neighbors. And you know, we've printed for all of them, and we've shown a lot of success. And the technology showcase is just here to show the citizens of Mountain View that its city is pretty cool. We're kind of selling the idea of 3D printing in general too. We want people to understand that they have the power to make whatever they need. Things around the house, prototypes for new products. If you have an idea for something amazing and you want to make it real, you have the ability to do so. It started off as a hobby. I enjoy 3D printing at home, solving small problems around the house. I would print a bunch of stuff for my wife, and half the stuff that we have in our house is now 3D printed. Just here we have a 3D printed guitar, fully tuned. It's works pretty well. It's a Fender Strat variant. And on this side we have just some basic vase mode printers. We also have our 3D printed virtual pinball machine. So you put on your Oculus Quest, you put that in there, it recognizes it as an Xbox 360 controller, and you can play virtual pinball on a regulation size. All the buttons are correct, everything is correct about this machine. We have several different technologies at Jinxpot that we offer, even though there's tons more. FDM is our primary technology that we offer. It's printed basically with PLA plastics. It's good for 95% of the projects that are out there. We also have SLA printing or resin printing, and the resin printing is done with photopolymer resins, and those are used to mimic different mechanical properties of different plastics that are out there. So if you have a really specific need for material properties, we can match those as well. And we also have the Formlabs Fuse 1, which is an SLS nylon machine. So SLS nylon, nylon 11 in particular, is an incredible material. It's biocompatible, it's incredibly durable. It's a hard material. You can prototype pretty much whatever you want out of it, and you can print without any support material. And if you know about 3D printing in general, printing out without support material is incredible. We have a huge eye towards sustainability, recyclability. One of the reasons why we print with PLA plastics in general is because it's so recyclable. ABS is a little bit more difficult to recycle. After a while, the polymer chains do break down and the material becomes more brittle. PLA is a lot more recyclable. There are a lot more programs that recycle PLA. You can even take recycled cups that are made out of PLA and turn it into filament that you can turn into 3D printed objects. Website is pretty easy to remember. It's jinxpot.com. Our email is info@jinxpot.com, so pretty easy. Visit our website. We have a list of all of our capabilities, technologies, our turnaround times, everything that you could know. We have a pretty robust FAQs page, and if it's not answered there, feel free to read us and write us a quick email. info@jinxpot.com. We'll answer any questions. We're here to make 3D printing accessible.
So I'm Jonas Dino. I'm with a public engagement group at NASA Ames Research Center, and so what I do is I interface with like City of Mountain View to bring out our technical folks so they can share what they do. So that's my job. I get to go out and set it up for them so they can be the stars. The things we're highlighting here today are TechEdSat. It's a small satellite project that we have. And then we also have our Airspace Operations Lab. They're demonstrating a ADS-B transponder thing for airplanes. But what they're doing is they're working with firefighters to mitigate all the wildfire things that that are happening in the western United States. And then at the end, we have our tech partnerships folks, and these are the people who are responsible for taking all of the NASA technologies and then working with US companies so that they can turn them into products that serve the US population. We have a robust internship program, and we have our technical folks serve as mentors, and they bring in young people who are excited about NASA, and it helps us too because they bring ideas also. These people actually do real work that benefits the American people. We've even had high school students published in a scientific journal because they participated in a project during their internship that was then published in one of the scientific journals. And so the students come from all over the place. We have our internship program, intern.nasa.gov, and they just, again, participate in all of our different projects, from a social media intern to somebody who's working on small satellites or fire mitigation or air traffic management or supercomputing. So a lot of different stuff that we do, and a lot of interns that help us. My specialty is presenting to kids preschool to 8th grade. And I always tell the kids, hey, we want you to come work for NASA and bring your crazy ideas. Because those crazy ideas are what push technology forward. You know, people thought going to the moon was crazy. We've done it. Flying faster than the speed of sound was crazy. We do it now. Having a computer that you can fit on your wrist was thought as crazy. We have that now. And so it's those kind of things that we want to make sure that the kids bring in perspectives. We want a diverse workforce, all different types, gender, age, experience, all that kind of stuff, anything, because if everyone at NASA was blue, we would come up with a blue solution like that. But if we have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet people coming out with different perspectives, the kind of solution we get, a beautiful one, a rainbow. And the inspiration for solutions could be something that they learned, could be something that they learned from their family, could be something they learned from their culture. So, we want as diverse of a group of people as possible, and these interns from across the country are doing that for us. My favorite part of working at NASA is seeing the kids' eyes. When they learn something new, their eyes go like this, or or that light bulb that turns on when they get a new concept. That's what I love about NASA. For all the kids, if no one's ever told you, we want you to come work for NASA.